Chair Shot Reality continuing on the CSR Originals. Josh Eisenberg, Justin LeBar, Squirrel Hill Sports Bar here in Pittsburgh. Good times as always.
I'm excited. I've had a couple of Bud Lights already to ease the nerves. It's been a
For
very
whatever
hectic
happens.
week. It's been a very
They're not
hectic
even
week for me,
sponsoring.
Justin. Doesn't matter. Bud Light. There it is.
Hectic week,
It's been a
please.
hectic week for the life of Josh Eisenberg. Come on now.
Yeah, that's hectic. All right, Josh. Let's talk about hectic life changes. Is when you go from the world of NXT to where you now have the pressure of being on Raw and SmackDown. You got to pass Vince every time you go through that curtain. You're dealing with stricter time cues, busier schedule. So let's talk. Out of the NXT stars, we'll say since the WrestleMania season, the WrestleMania time, that have now found themselves on Raw and SmackDown as regular superstars, who's going to be the most successful in this year 2016? Who are you taking?
You know, it's been a hard week for me. It's probably been a soft week for you. Am I right? Am I right? Big Cass on Monday night had a very unexpected and a very intriguing coming out party on Monday Night Raw. And I'll tell you, I did not expect this whatsoever. For him to come out without Enzo, without his mouthpiece, so to say, and make a big statement. Now, you started Monday Night Raw with Chris Jericho in the highlight reel, and he was interrupted by Big Cass. You ended the night advertising Chris Jericho versus Cass in the main event. Now, albeit there wasn't an actual match between Jericho and Cass, but you put the spotlight on a guy that's 7 foot, that's 300 pounds.
It was
you
a good
can't
little test.
teach that. But here's the thing.
There it was.
Here's the thing what you got to
Guy can't get his own material.
Of course, I'm talking about a guy who has material that does not even need to be tweaked. But the reason that I really enjoyed Cass is because he came out and held his own on the mic with Chris Jericho. He doesn't sound mechanical. He doesn't sound like a robot a la Ryback. Bye-bye, I hope. He sounds like a guy that can hold his own in the mic, and we've seen his in-ring abilities. He's not going to be the most athletic guy, bell-to-bell like Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens or even Neville, but he's still a guy that has so much to offer in the WWE ring.
Well, Cass did, it was a great little test. He's a 7-foot pile of money in Vince McMahon's eyes.
How you doing?
7-foot pile of money. If I want to nitpick, I could notice he was definitely trying to make sure he didn't forget his lines. But at the same point, the crowd was with him. It was the biggest TV time he's ever had, opening segment with Raw with Jericho. So I don't fault him. I think he held his own. However, I'm going to go against this because with Big Cass, it's almost like when you are the WWE type and you're 7 foot, no matter how much people like you, no matter how hot you were in NXT, I could feel it coming that eventually, especially when Big Cass is on his own and not with Enzo, it's going to be somehow he's going to become the force fed from WWE. People were cheering Roman Reigns a few years ago when they were here at the Royal Rumble in Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden now Roman Reigns is force fed by us. He can't do anything. So I hope it doesn't happen for Cass, but I have my fears. On the flip side, my pick for 2016 is Baron Corbin.
Oh, a guy with no personality. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Baron Corbin has the personality. Baron Corbin has he like Kevin Owens, he plays that heel around the clock. He's not going to stop and smile at you in the hotel. He's not going to sign your whatever, your DVD.
What's going to happen with him? He's going to have people turn the channel.
No. Baron Corbin is the right kind of heel. Baron Corbin's the kind of guy who he commits to the heel thing. He's not going to pander over here and then try to turn the heel thing on here. I miss the type of heels. I miss the type of heels back in the day when they almost welcomed. They could never say it, but they welcomed somebody to challenge in the parking lot, challenge in the bar. Baron Corbin's not going out there looking for trouble. But Baron Corbin is that kind of guy, that kind of heel, and he's never going to get cheered by the fans right now. Dolph Ziggler's the perfect kind of opponent because he's the favorite of everybody. Baron Corbin has a great, bright future, barring that he stays healthy, a great and bright future in 2016. He's not going to win Money in the Bank. He's not going to win the world title in 2016, but it doesn't cut him off from other titles, and it doesn't cut him off from having some big moments that's going to catapult him into 2017.
See, here's the problem, though, and I like Baron Corbin because he has that old-school throwback heel where he doesn't care if he's booed or cheered. But does that really make money right now? Big Cass and Enzo make money for WWE. And I'll tell you this much. You want to compare Cass to Roman Reigns. That's an easy comparison to you. They could not be further because Cass became who he was because of his personality. Roman Reigns didn't say anything for a year and a half, and people loved the fact that he was a physical guy who was able to hit some splash spears and was with two really great guys. Do you want to know what stood out the most to me on Raw?
I hope it doesn't happen for Cass, but this audience never ceases to amaze me
But
anymore.
listen, this is what really stood out the most. A guy that was at WrestleMania facing Brock Lesnar did not get as big of a pop on Monday Night Raw twice as Big Cass in the beginning of Raw and Big Cass at the end of Raw, he got that crowd reaction in a very generalized, neutral Omaha, Nebraska crowd over a Dean Ambrose guy who should be main event, spotlight on him. That is what really blew me away.
I'm not going to argue that. A Big Cass did great. I'm not arguing that. But
you're saying Baron Corbin, a guy thrown at 8:45.
Because Baron Corbin's going to have the bigger. Hey, Baron Corbin's going to have the bigger year. You know why? Because you know who's on Baron Corbin's team? Just Baron Corbin. Once Enzo comes back,
tag team champion.
They complement each other, but Enzo is the star of that. Enzo is the more appealing guy.
Is he the star?
If you made people vote, if they had to vote and say which one do you like better, who do you want to go have a picture with, or whatever, Enzo's going to win that poll.
Right now, it's Cass.
No, I mean when they're both healthy, when they're both around. Enzo's been off TV for 2 weeks.
I know, but that's the thing is the past 2 weeks have been so monumental for a guy like Cass, where he is standing on his own. Justin,
but he's going to go back to a tag team in a few weeks, which is
He's
fine.
going to win the WWE
Stop
World Tag Team Championship.
You're worse than Ric Flair, gyrating.
I'm not worse than
Ric Flair, who's about a step above
Mitch
the potted plant right now.
He's also had 4 wives, and I've had 0. I'm single.
You're like -1 wife. I love how you advertise that every week.
Hey, Big Dog likes his women.
Since when
Big Dog likes his women.
Since when did CSR become like Tinder for Josh Eisenberg? I don't understand that.
It's Bumble now. Get with it.
All right. We got more to talk about. We'll talk about the big stars returning to Raw and SmackDown very soon.